Hey friends, I came back with a quick follow-up to the video I put out last weekend about Airstream upgrades we do if we weren't full timing and we got another trailer. I got a ton of comments, emails, messages, Facebook requests, all the things, and I realized very quickly that I had left out a number of things that are very, very important to me. So I wanted to jump back on camera and give you some extra clarity and share a couple of things that I don't think I explained well or I skipped inadvertently. And if you haven't watched the last video yet, please go check it out first. The link is right here on the screen and down in the video description, and this will make much more sense to you after that. I'm rewinding the tape. I've said this all at the end of the video, but I'm going to say it again up here at the beginning. When I say stuff I would do on a new trailer, I don't mean trading this one in. I don't mean selling this trailer. This is a 13 Adventures mobile, and it's going to remain a 13 Adventures mobile. This trailer is going nowhere. I have invested so much time, sweat, tears, blood, money into this thing. It is ours for the long haul, regardless of whatever happens to it. Even if it got hail damage, I'd want to keep it. It would have to be a complete and utter failure, loss kind of thing for me to ever part ways with this trailer. So I'm going to continue to use all the things that I put on here, and I'm going to continue to love them all. I say all of this in my part 2 and referencing part 1 of this upgrade thing. If we were to be buying another trailer, a second trailer. So my second trailer, I would probably camp in it a little differently than I camp in this trailer. And I'll explain more of that coming the rest of this video. All right, let's jump in. First up, the rear hatch. It's right here. I've had a bunch of you ask me why we would skip it, and you wanted more details on that. So here's my honest truth after living with it full time. We love the idea of it. We open it as much as possible, but after actually living in the trailer every single day for the last 3 years, for the most part, we realize it's just not worth the added cost and possible long-term headaches going down the road. Here's what I don't love mostly. The frame. It's a frame right here, and it's not very comfortable to sit against. And it shortens the seat that you got to sit up here. That's one reason we really like the new Globetrotter with a wraparound booth seating right here, because it gives you some extra wiggle room. The table. I don't know if you can see it on my camera, but the table is super wobbly, having the hatch. That's another thing that I don't really like very much either. The way the hatch, even though it's latched right now, I can still move it. And you can see the daylight between the door, and it's latched. I'm just pushing on it. So that happens all the time, and that's not uncommon. And it moves out and in and out and in. And I know it does that same thing while we're driving down the highway, because I can see the wear grease on all the points. I take care of it. I have lubricated it. I have adjusted all the things I can adjust and tightened down all the things I can tighten down. And I have removed the self-tapping screws that the factory put in and replaced them with rivets, and I've done a number of other things to it. I've even replaced the screen. I have it open absolutely as much as I possibly can have it open. And it's a really cool thing to have open. It's a really cool thing to have. It's a cool factor for sure. But for the cost and the uncomfortableness of the frame and other potential future issues, I just don't think it's worth it. One more thing, the window. If you look at a rear hatch window, it's kind of small compared to a normal not rear hatch window. So the view back here, the panoramic view back here is awesome. It's much better if you don't have the hatch, because you don't have big braces in the way. You get a bigger window, a number of things like that. Again, I love it. I don't regret buying it at all. I just would not purchase it if I were to buy another trailer. All right, I hope I've answered all your thoughts on the rear hatch, but window, door frame, rattles and shakes, adjusted, wobbly table. And if any of you out there have a hatch, 90% of the ones I see, if you go look at it, it's canted. Tighter on the left side of the trailer or road side of the trailer than it is on the curb side of the trailer. The door is canted. 90% of the trailers I see is that's the case. And the only way that I'm aware to fix that is to take the skin off the inside of the door, loosen where the hinges attach, readjust it, because there's no adjustment points outside. So those are my main things that I just don't like about the hatch. And again, the cost. The cost is just spending that much money for a hole back here that can cause you problems in the future. That's just not something that I want to put money forth into another trailer on right now. All right, next thing is Airkrafters. I talked about the generator, and I got sidetracked with generator things, and I forgot to mention the things that they have that I absolutely love. The AirPODs in here are absolutely fantastic. The mats that cover the doors and the bumper and all the battery box and all that stuff, the water inlet, I absolutely love all those things. Those things will always be on any trailer I have going forward. I can't believe I left those out. Those are some of my favorite things. The mats that go over the front rock guards, that's just not my style. They work great and I love what they do. It's just not personally my style. On the generator, I got a ton of questions about that, a ton of comments about that too, so I want to follow up on that a little bit. Sean and his team at Airkrafters are absolutely brilliant. They make the most wonderful stuff, the most wonderful gear. I love the whole operation. I love anybody attached to that program, and I always, 100% will always promote anything that they have going on. And I'm very thankful for their friendship too. And when I mentioned that I would not do the generator again, I think that's all most of you heard. So I want to go into a little bit more things. I don't think I really convey to you how much I do actually love the generator. I have used it many times. I've used it today. Just today I had it on running my air conditioning here, and it was fantastic because I'm boondocking right now. I was showing it off 2 days ago at how quiet it actually is sitting in here running the air conditioner with the generator running and recharging the batteries. I just helped someone install one on their trailer. Just this week, I helped someone put one on this week, and I cranked it up today. So it's been really fantastic. I think I mentioned this in the last video, but if not, I'll say it here. When we left Alaska this summer and I had the rig parked in Wyoming and drove from Wyoming all the way across the country to Pennsylvania, I used the generator almost every single night to run the air conditioner, recharge the things, and do all that stuff. Even though I had plenty of battery, even though I had plenty of solar, even though I had a DC-to-DC charger, the convenience of running that generator is absolutely a wonderful thing, and I do love it. All that said, based on how Blair and I camp in this trailer right now, it's not something I would install on a new rig going forward. I've just learned that a portable generator would probably meet our needs most of the time with the kind of battery build we have in here now, and I can go plug in somewhere if I don't want that, or I can just open the windows or chase 70. And from a weight perspective, I have a lot of things on this trailer, as you know, and I am pushing my gross vehicle weight rating, and I didn't address that on the video either. With all the things I've done to my trailer, I can put 20% of water in my tank and I'm at gross vehicle weight rating. So that means I don't tow anywhere with more than 20% combined all of my tanks, okay? Because I'm that heavy. Gear on a camper is never perfect. I still get camper envy anytime we walk into a dealership or go to a rally. There's always something shiny that I want. But I have to figure out, and you have to figure out, what actually works for your camping style right now. And that's another thing I wanted to cover in that video and I didn't. And that leads me to a bigger idea that I have and I've thought about a lot about lately, and I've pushed the stuff out there. But I've written and finished a book, Airstream Travel Trailer Fundamental book. The book is a not-for-sale thing. It's for an in-person seminar that I'm starting later this year and full-time in 2027, and I'm really excited about the whole seminar. I think it's a really fantastic thing. Ronnie Dennis is doing a boot camp at his place right now this fall for the first time this year, and I think that's fantastic. I think some dealerships are doing these little new owner orientation courses, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's just something that I want to offer you if you trust me as your person, and I can come out to you and do the kind of course like that. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to push it out through the Airstream Club International coming soon if anybody would like to be part of that. But in the book, I wrote a whole section on how to choose the right upgrades for you, and I want to share my decision tree with you right here, because honestly, that's exactly how I've looked at almost every single purchase on this trailer and previous trailers. Remember, this is my 5th trailer. I've been doing this full time since 2011, and I think I've learned a few things along the way. But anyway, step number 1 is you have to define your mission and your real camping goals, and you have to be honest with yourself about all that. Are you a weekend warrior? Are you a boondocker? Are you a family road tripper? Are you a full-timer? Are you a snowbird? Are you an adventure explorer where you just want to be in the national parks all the time? Once you define that, then you can decide on 1, the trailer you're going to get, 2, the tow vehicle you're going to get, and 3, the upgrades, but more to the upgrade piece right now. You have to define what kind of camper you are. Number 2, in your current setup, whether it be your tow vehicle or your camper or your trailer or your whatever you have, RV in general, what frustrates you the most right now based on what type of camper you are. And you need to be specific. The battery dies after one night, the water tastes terrible, I'm scared to tow in the wind, whatever the things might be. Step number 3, what would make you say, or question number 3, what would make you say this thing was worth every single penny? Once you have those things narrowed down and you have a true honest answer for those things, I have a very cool decision-making matrix that you need to work on. So, for every upgrade, you need to write down, is this a need or is this a want? Once you decide if it's a need or a want, then you say, does my spouse or my travel partner want this thing too? Then looking back at your other thing, what's your number one frustration? Does that thing solve your number one frustration right now? And then based on what kind of camper you are, does that thing support the actual mission on the way that I camp? And then last, what is the real cost versus the real benefit in this thing? And I'm going to overlay on the screen here like some of the upgrades, like battery, generator, solar, lift kit, bigger wheels and tires, etc., all the way down, and you can kind of fill in your own decision-making matrix once you've answered those questions for yourself. Just to be clear, a need solves a real problem or safely enables your camping mission or style. A want is a nice to have, shiny thing, or everyone else has it kind of thing. If it's a want, you can usually sit on those things for a while and it will just go away. For example, I want the new 4.6's Airstream because it's beautiful. I'm not going to buy it because it's expensive, and right now it's not available without the hatch. But it has a very light cargo carrying capacity, like 900 pounds. Here's the bottom line, folks, and this might sound weird coming from me after all the upgrades I've done to this single trailer here. Every single upgrade should earn its place on your trailer. If it doesn't make your specific camping style noticeably better, leave it at the store or decide later. Doing that will make your Airstream or your camper lighter, cheaper to tow, cheaper to own, and you'll actually use all the things you bought. Do you need those fancy camping chairs? Are you happy with the ones you have now work well? And I'll talk about camping chairs real quick. The Zip D chairs that we have now, and the little table that matches our awning and all the things, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. There are more comfortable chairs out there in the world. There are significantly lighter chairs out there in the world. I have them for aesthetics, mainly. That's it. I'll admit it. It was a pure want. Going back in time, do I need those chairs? They were a want, not a need. I could have done fine perfectly with the chairs that I used to have. Back to my upgrades in this trailer. A huge chunk of the upgrades on this trailer specifically and our last Airstream have happened because of this channel. You have asked me to try things out, so I did. You've asked me how to do a thing, so I showed you. You've asked me how a product works, so I got one and tried it out. And this is our full-time house. Well, it's our most time house. We have a van too, and we now have a condo if you weren't aware, but we go to that on occasion. Anything in this trailer, because it's such a small space and we're in it in a confined space and all the things all the time, anything that makes this place 1% more comfortable, 1% more convenient, or 1% more towing friendly is worth it to us. And I say all that because for so many years, we had no bricks and sticks kind of house. So all the money that we would have spent on furniture or lawn care or insurance or pick a thing in that sticks and bricks kind of place, we put it into our camper. Far too many people out there in the world are trying to keep a nice house and a nice trailer and a nice truck and upgrade all those things all at the same time. And it's just not worth the cost. That's my thought. And I've said this for many, 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 many years. If I were not using a camper more than 50 nights per year, I don't think I would own one, and I don't think it'd be worth owning one in most cases. You can rent one a few times a year for a lot less than buying one, upgrading one, storing one, insuring one, towing one, having to upgrade your truck and all the things to go along with it. It's expensive. It's a very expensive thing to own. And then it depreciates like that. Also, our knife block is something I would do again. Our towel rack is something I would do again, paper towel rack. If I had another international, I would coat these doors again. I think that's great. I would upgrade to the Max Air Deluxe fan, which is fantastic. 170-degree hinges again, for sure. And there's hundreds and hundreds of things that we've done to this trailer that I don't remember. I don't remember all the little knickknacks and all the little things that we've done to make our lives a little better. So for that, I apologize, but I will be happy to answer any of your questions. Should you have one about, hey, I thought about this thing or that thing or the other thing, what should I get? And do you still recommend it or still use it? I will say that if you are on our Amazon storefront, our Amazon 13 Adventures Amazon store page, Every single item on there is something we have used in the past and still recommend. It just doesn't fit this camper maybe, or it's something we currently use. Anything that I've ever put out there that is junk, that you told me was junk or I found out later was junk, I'll remove it. So everything on there is something I still endorse and would still buy again. So hope that helps. All right, folks, I hope that provides you with a little extra clarity on some of the things that I accidentally left out, and I'm very sorry about that. And I hope it helps you answer your question about the hatch and more about the generator and more about all the things we do. I truly do love that decision-making matrix, and I think you should apply it to any upgrade that you want to do, regardless of where you get it done. Whomever you decide to have do your work for you, or you decide to do it yourself, make sure that it's worth the cost. Make sure that it fits the decision-making tree, and make sure that, most importantly, it makes your camping style better. I would love to know from all of you out there who watched the other video and are now watching this video, what's the one upgrade you're rethinking now that you've watched my videos, or what's the biggest frustration you're trying to solve right now? I'd love to know the answer to those things. Thank you very much for making us a part of your adventure. Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you for all the questions you send. Love you all, and I will see you again this coming week. I have a video, a really great video on adjusting the door and how to do all the fun things to your door from our friends Kevin and Deborah at No Locks. And I'm going to have some really awesome giveaways in that video too. So stay tuned. Patreon on Friday and Sunday on YouTube. See you all down the road. Happy adventures, everybody. Bye.